Chosen one, far beyond the reach of public maps, on a scorched desert plateau where no roads exist and no aircraft fly without clearance, a structure began to shimmer under the rising sun, not built by workers, not traced in blueprints, not logged in any architectural database. It simply appeared, piece by piece, as though summoned by a silent command. Rumors spread among satellite analysts who noticed a geometric anomaly forming in the sand, a perfect square of reflected light that grew brighter each day until drones could barely record it. The truth leaked from one terrified engineer. The tech tycoon had constructed a golden house, not for royalty, not for presidents, not for any earthly figure, but exclusively for you. The walls glowed with metallic radiance even before completion, as if recognizing the soul they were built to contain. No one could explain how the tycoon acquired the materials, how the structure rose without machinery, or why the interior hummed with a frequency measurable only during celestial events. Then a leaked memo confirmed the reason. This house is designed to stabilize a non-human energy signature. They weren't building luxury. They were building a sanctuary for a god-tier presence, a place where your energy wouldn't overwhelm the world, a throne disguised as a home. And the world wasn't supposed to see it, but destiny wanted you to know. Sparkles if this prophecy resonates. Click Super Thanks and send a $20 seed. Comment your angel number 111/222/333/777/144 to claim your golden inheritance timeline. Luke 6 verse 38. The first scientific panic began the moment a classified lab received a microsample from the house's exterior wall. Analysts expected ordinary gold, or at most an engineered alloy, something impressive but explainable. Instead, the sample behaved like a living metal. Its density fluctuated according to the heartbeat of the technician holding it. Its molecular structure rearranged itself into symmetrical patterns every time your name was spoken in the room. Under thermal scans, the metal emitted a soft, golden pulse, identical to the readings produced only during celestial phenomena. When exposed to electromagnetic fields, it didn't melt, crack, or distort. It resonated, humming at 528 hertz, the frequency ancient mystics called the frequency of miracles. One researcher ran the scan 3 times before whispering, "This isn't gold, it's obedience." Another, too afraid to speak louder, wrote in his report, "The material responds as if recognizing a master frequency. Not the tycoon's, not ours is." The report was buried, encrypted, and sealed under 9 layers of clearance, yet even the sealed file glowed faintly on the server, as though the metal remembered your energy and refused to be forgotten. The scientists didn't just discover an alloy. They discovered material built to resonate with you and only you. The architectural teams assigned to the project tried to convince the public and themselves that the Golden House was simply the result of cutting-edge design. But internally, behind encrypted walls and sleepless nights, they admitted a truth that no engineer wanted on their record. There were no blueprints. Not missing, not classified, not corrupted. They never existed. The tycoon had gathered the world's most brilliant designers, physicists, structural savants, and metaphysical engineers. Yet every attempt to draft a plan ended in blank pages, frozen screens, or sketches that erased themselves the moment ink touched paper. One architect claimed that whenever he tried to map the foundation, his hand jerked uncontrollably away from the page. Another confessed that geometric patterns appeared in his dreams, guiding his pencil only to vanish when he woke. Eventually, the team realized the structure was not being designed. It was being remembered. Their hands moved with a foreign intuition, building a shape they had never learned yet somehow already knew. Windows formed at angles mathematically impossible. Pillars rose with ratios matching constellations instead of blueprints. Rooms aligned with celestial currents rather than human logic. The chief engineer finally reported the only explanation he could justify. We didn't build this house. Something used us to reveal it, and the only soul whose frequency matched the finished design was yours. Long before the Golden House was publicly noticed, a classified satellite in low orbit detected an unexplained distortion hovering above a desert sector. The anomaly appeared as a soft, dome-shaped glow, faint at first, then steadily brightening with each passing hour. Analysts assumed it was atmospheric interference, until they realized the distortion had geometry, perfect geometry, a seamless golden sphere of energy, pulsing at intervals synchronized with a biological rhythm, your rhythm. Drones sent to investigate experienced temporary system paralysis the moment they crossed the perimeter. Their sensors recorded no threat, yet every machine behaved as though entering a sacred zone. Animals that wandered near the site paused at the invisible border, bowed their heads, and refused to step inside, not from fear but reverence. The tycoon's private researchers tested the field with lasers, sound waves, kinetic pulses, even frequency disruptors, but the dome absorbed every force and responded with gentle ripple like water touched by light. The most shocking discovery came when a technician whispered your name near the recorded footage. The entire energy dome brightened. It reacted. It recognized. It acknowledged. The tech tycoon finally admitted in a SEAL meeting. This field wasn't generated by the house. The house was built inside a field that already belonged to him. The golden energy wasn't protecting the structure. It was waiting for you. By the time the golden walls stood complete and the energy dome stabilized, the truth the tech tycoon had tried to outrun finally cornered him. This structure wasn't a gift, a tribute, or a monument. It wasn't wealth showing off. It wasn't luxury. It wasn't engineering. It was submission. Every test, every anomaly, every unexplained glow pointed to the same terrifyingly divine conclusion. The house wasn't built for you. It was built because of you. Its shape reflected the curvature of your aura. Its dimensions matched your spiritual range. Its windows aligned with the same constellations connected to your origin frequency. Rooms that seemed random at first revealed perfect resonance points when mapped against the energetic signature you emit when you sleep. Even the foundation sat atop a geometric pattern identical to the one your presence produces when you walk on certain ground. The tycoon realized he wasn't the architect. He was the messenger. The metal wasn't the material. It was the medium. The house wasn't a structure. It was a shrine, a stabilization chamber constructed by destiny itself for a being whose energy would overwhelm any ordinary dwelling. He stared at the golden walls, trembling, and whispered the only explanation his mind could form. This isn't a home, it's a throne. It was always meant for him. And at that moment, he understood your aura didn't adapt to the house. The house adapted to you. The moment your name was spoken inside the Golden House for the very first time, the entire structure responded like a living organism awakening from centuries of sleep. The walls shimmered with a soft internal glow. The floor hummed beneath the tycoon's feet, and a low, resonant vibration filled the air, 528 hertz, the frequency of miracles, regeneration, and divine restructuring. Instruments deployed throughout the house recorded impossible readings. Electromagnetic fields aligning in perfect harmony, temperature stabilizing to your ideal baseline, and a pulse echoing through the hallways that matched the rhythm of your energetic signature. Even more unnerving, the house began syncing itself to the person speaking your name, but only to a point, as if searching, scanning, verifying, and then refusing. It wasn't responding to any human voice. It was waiting for yours. When the tycoon tried again, saying your name with more force, more reverence, more breath, the structure radiated a burst of golden light strong enough to shut down every sensor inside the facility. The engineers panicked. The tycoon fell to his knees. And then it happened. The house whispered back. A low, harmonic tone rippled through the walls. Your tone, your frequency, your cosmic signature, as though the sanctuary had recognized its rightful owner and activated a dormant function not meant for mortal use. This wasn't architecture, reacting to sound. This was destiny reacting to identity. The house wasn't waking up. It was acknowledging you. Press join to activate your golden throne frequency. Step into the circle of souls whose presence shifts architecture and ignites destiny-coded structures. ISA 60:22. When the tech tycoon finally entered the Golden House alone, the interior reacted instantly, guiding him through its halls like a living intelligence. Lights ignited ahead of him in soft waves, illuminating pathways he hadn't noticed during the construction phase. Every step he took caused the walls to shift in brightness, as if tracking his movement and adjusting the atmosphere to a calibrated resonance. But the strangest part wasn't what the house did. It was what the house refused to do. Entire corridors stayed dark. Rooms remained sealed. Doors wouldn't open, no matter what codes or biometrics he tried. The tycoon realized the house was giving him a partial tour, a preview, nothing more. The true chambers, the core of the structure, the heart of the sanctuary, remained dormant, waiting. He wandered through rooms where golden dust hung in the air like particles of suspended light, where furniture appeared grown rather than built, and where geometric patterns pulsed faintly under the floor. In one chamber, a staircase spiraled upward but dissolved the moment he attempted to climb it. In another, mirrored walls showed not reflections, but fragments of constellations shifting behind him. Everything whispered one truth. He wasn't the occupant. He wasn't the heir. He wasn't the frequency match. The true tour could only begin when you arrived. The house would open entirely. Every sealed door, every hidden chamber, every dormant system. Only when the being it was built for stepped inside. The tycoon walked through the glittering halls, awestruck, whispering to himself, "This place is waiting for him." And the walls glowed in agreement. By the time the tycoon reached the central hall, the truth he had been suppressing finally forced itself to the surface. He stood beneath a skylight he didn't design, staring at a ceiling that shifted patterns according to beat of his own trembling heartbeat. Every surface shimmered with a softness that felt less like metal and more like a living presence. He placed his hand on one of the golden pillars and felt it vibrate gently, as if whispering a message he wasn't meant to hear. His breath hitched. His eyes watered. And for the first time in decades, a man worshipped by the world for his genius, for his wealth, for his empire, felt small. He realized he had not funded a marvel. He had obeyed an instruction. The idea hadn't come from him. The blueprint wasn't his. The materials had found him, not the other way around. He sank to the floor, overwhelmed, and whispered into the empty chamber, "I didn't build this for comfort. I built this because the universe told me to. I built this for prophecy." For him, his voice cracked as he said it, because saying the truth aloud made it real. Every invention he'd ever created, every breakthrough he'd ever claimed credit for, every leap in technology that shaped the modern world, all of it traced back to impulses, visions, and flashes of brilliance he never fully understood. Until now, those weren't ideas. They were instructions. And the golden house was the final one. As the tycoon's confession echoed to the golden chamber, an energy shift rolled across the entire house. Subtle at first, then powerful enough to rattle the air like a silent thunder. The lights dimmed, then brightened in a slow, deliberate pulse, as though the structure had received a signal from a realm no human device could monitor. Deep inside the house, a hidden panel opened by itself, revealing a hovering projection disc made of pure light. No engineer had installed it. No blueprint mentioned it. Yet it floated into the center of the hall and activated, projecting a symbol onto the golden floor. A six-winged sigil, ancient and radiant, flickering in perfect synchrony with the frequency of your soul. The tycoon stumbled back in awe as lines of luminous text scrolled across the air, translating a celestial script into human-readable form. The message was short, but it broke him completely. Restoration Palace of the Chosen, construction approved by the thrones. Beneath it flashed a second line, awaiting presence, authorization locked until he arrives. That was when he understood the full truth. The house wasn't merely blessed. It was registered, cataloged, filed in the archives of a higher order. The golden house wasn't an earthly structure. It was officially recognized by the celestial administration that monitors chosen souls across dimensions. Angels hadn't visited it. They had signed off on it. The tycoon fell to his knees as the projection faded, whispering through shaking breath, "This wasn't my project, this was a divine delivery." And the house glowed as if nodding. While the celestial approval sealed itself into the golden floor, something extraordinary began happening far beyond the desert, among ordinary people who had never heard of the house, the tycoon, or the prophecy unfolding in silence. Individuals across the region felt sudden warmth bloom in their chests. Chronic pains faded. Migraines dissolved. People who had been locked in grief for years felt, for the first time, a moment of inexplicable peace. Strangers reported vivid dreams of a glowing structure under a vast sky, dreams in which they walked through golden corridors and left feeling lighter, clearer, restored. Children woke from sleep saying, "The bright place healed me." Even pets behaved differently. Dogs stared in the direction of the desert and whined softly as if sensing a returning source, while cats purred at empty corners as golden motes of energy drifted through the air. Hospitals saw unexpected recovery spikes. Therapists noted emotional breakthroughs. Traffic incidents dropped. Arguments dissolved faster. People began acting kinder, gentler, more aligned, without knowing why. Scientists scrambled for explanations. Geomagnetic fluctuations? Solar interference? Seismic anomalies? None fit the data. Because the truth wasn't scientific. It was energetic. The golden house had activated its first function, the stabilization field. A sanctuary built for you had begun radiating healing across the collective unconscious. Even before you set foot inside, humanity wasn't reacting to architecture. They were reacting to your energy echoing through it. As the Golden House continued to emit its subtle waves across the region, a pattern began forming, one that even the tycoon, with all his technology, couldn't explain. People whose lives had been stagnant suddenly experienced breakthroughs. Individuals burdened by financial stress received unexpected opportunities. Old tensions dissolved. Lost connections resurfaced. Even the desert sky changed. The stars above the plateau appeared sharper, brighter, as if the atmosphere itself had cleared in anticipation. And though no one consciously linked these events to the structure, every shift traced back to one source: your frequency, anchored inside the golden sanctuary. This was not luck. This was the ancient law activating. The universe realigning itself around the rightful heir. The divine reward is not material. It is environmental correction. Everything begins moving the way it should have moved long ago. Doors open at the right time. People show up at the right moment. Paths clear without force. Resistance collapses before it forms. You are not being blessed. Things are merely returning to their original order. Even the tycoon felt it. Deals that had been frozen for years suddenly finalized in his favor. His machines began functioning with impossible efficiency. His team reported 0 technical malfunctions across all systems for the first time in recorded history. It wasn't because he built the house. It was because he aligned himself, even unconsciously, with your timeline. That alignment unlocked his protection, his clarity, his acceleration. And the universe responded, not out of favoritism, but out of recognition. As days passed, the Golden House shifted from rumor to legend. Before anyone saw it, before anyone proved it existed, the world had already created a name for it: the house where light sleeps. Communities on distant continents whispered about an unseen glow in the desert. Pilots flying near restricted airspace reported shimmering reflections on the horizon that vanished when approached. Mystics claimed to feel a tug in their chest, as if their souls recognized a long-awaited arrival point. Even skeptics found themselves staring into the night sky, sensing a presence they couldn't articulate. The tech tycoon security teams observed something even stranger. Animals gathered near the perimeter, not out of curiosity, but reverence. Birds circled in perfect spirals above the dome. Herd animals stood facing the house as if acknowledging a silent king. Predators sat calmly among prey, united in a strange, peaceful stillness. Inside the house, the golden surfaces grew warmer, almost breathing with anticipation. Lights flickered softly whenever someone mentioned your name within its walls. Rooms glowed brighter at night than during the day. Mirrored surfaces showed faint outlines of constellations where reflections should be. The tycoon realized a truth he had tried to deny. The house was not waiting for occupancy. It was preparing for coronation. The era of golden dwelling had begun, not because you lived there, but because your energy had already claimed it, and the world, knowingly or not, had begun aligning itself to the home of a being who bends destiny simply by existing. The closer the world drifted toward your arrival, the more the physical environment around the Golden House began to reflect your true nature. Temperature sensors placed throughout the structure reported gentle increases whenever your name was mentioned within its walls. Light patterns shifted without any electrical explanation, creating halos and door frames and soft golden mist in the corners of certain rooms. The air itself grew thicker, charged, easier to breathe yet heavier with meaning, as if the atmosphere were adjusting to hold something far greater than human presence. Objects within the sanctuary began responding to invisible stimuli. chairs turning slightly toward the entrance, curtains swaying even without airflow, reflective surfaces flickering with faint impressions of light that didn't exist in the room. The golden alloy embedded in the walls hummed with deeper resonance every night, aligning itself with cosmic cycles instead of electrical circuits. Even time behaved strangely around the structure. Security teams reported minutes feeling shorter near the entrance, while hours felt longer inside the central corridor. Clocks in the house gained or lost seconds unpredictably, not in chaos, but in synchronization with celestial movements recorded thousands of miles away. The desert responded too. Wind softened around the dome. Sand formed symmetrical patterns resembling sigils, and the night sky above the plateau shimmered with constellations visible only during rare cosmic alignments. The world was not malfunctioning. It was preparing. Matter itself was adjusting to accommodate a frequency it had not held in centuries. Yours. When the golden house completed its final resonance cycle, a calm fell over the desert, so complete it felt scripted by the universe itself. Every test, every anomaly, every pulse of light and breath of energy had pointed toward one undeniable truth. The structure was not created to impress you, comfort you, or house you. It was created to contain you, or more precisely, to withstand you. The walls were not luxury. They were reinforcement. The metal was not decoration. It was a stabilizer. The rooms were not architecture. They were conduits shaped to your cosmic signature. The tech tycoon, once worshipped as a genius among mortals, now stood small in the glow of a structure he never truly built. He watched the golden pillars brighten with each passing second, as if sensing your approach from a distance unimaginable to humans. His entire empire, every innovation he had ever claimed credit for, suddenly felt insignificant beside the purpose of this house. For the first time, he understood that his inventions weren't the result of brilliance, but the side effects of proximity to a being the universe had been preparing for generations. The sanctuary hummed, its resonance deepening. Dust lifted from the floor as if pulled upward by invisible hands. Lines of energy crawled across the walls like living veins. The very ground beneath the structure tightened, readying itself for the presence it was born to hold. And far beyond the desert, the world felt it, a shift in the collective field, a calm before revelation, an instinctual knowing that a prophecy was reaching its fulfillment. The golden house was not a residence. It was a throne room disguised as a home, a dimensional anchor designed not to elevate you, but to honor you, because beings like you do not step into houses. Houses prepare themselves for you. And as the golden glow intensified, one truth echoed across realms, across dimensions, across the spine of reality itself. Your arrival will not bless the house. The house will ascend because you entered it. Even metal knows your frequency. If this prophecy aligns with your identity, click Super Thanks and send your one-time $100 seed. Seal your covenant as the Golden One, the soul for whom empires and tycoons build sanctuaries. 2 Cor 9:8